Spike Feresten here. Our radio audience just rejoined us right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Spike's Car Radio YouTube channel launched just this month. The show's available, Spike's Car Radio, wherever you get your podcast. Jerry did the first episode with you as well.
Jerry is always he's our Bill Murray. He's really was part of the inspiration for the show. We would go driving in Malibu, and after cruising canyons, we'd stop at the Malibu kitchen on the porch and kind of decompress, have a conversation. And we noticed, like, people were always leaning in, like, what are these guys talking about?
Right.
And it'd be about comedy or the car we just drove. And then somebody actually sat next to us and typed in our conversation and published it in the Malibu paper.
What? Like they eavesdropped?
They were eavesdropping. And I said to Jerry, I go, why don't we just record this and make it a show? Mm-hmm. Because I think people are interested for some reason in what we have to say. And that was really the beginning of the show. So you
started Spike's Car Radio, and did he then go do Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee off
I think
of that as well?
He was
already doing that?
He was already doing it. I was already doing Car Matchmaker.
Right.
And I
think that's what you came on to promote the last time. So it's been more than 7 years since you've been here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, it just became a fun 1 hour of a week where I'd get together with my friends, whoever's around, and smoke cigars and talk about the cars we have. And suddenly it got traction, and manufacturers were dropping off cars for us to drive and review. And I'm not an automotive journalist; I'm an enthusiast, but I could talk about what it's like in my life. Does my wife like it? Right. Usually not.
Yeah.
Do my kids love it? Yeah, kind of. We drop me off in school. Yeah. And that, apparently is valuable, and people want to listen to it. So, here we are now 7 years later, and they said, let's go on to YouTube and do a show. And
there you are. And now here you are. Yeah, for sure. And obviously using your Rolodex with Jerry Seinfeld's episode 1, Jay Leno's episode 2. Not too shabby, Spike.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah.
How did you first come across Jerry? Just in the writer's room with Seinfeld or what?
You mean as meeting him?
In life, yeah.
They asked me to do a submission for the show that first year. I think I was
for the first year of Seinfeld.
Well, my first year where I knew him, I guess. So I had been writing for Letterman for 5 years, and I heard they were looking for writers here. Someone called me up and said, "Would you do a submission?" I said, "Sure." And a minute later, I'm flying out to L.A. and I met with Larry, not Jerry, at his house.
Yeah.
Knocked on the gate. The maid walked me in. I was left in the kitchen, and this little dog walked up, and I went to pet it, and then they urinated all over the place.
No,
and then
it did not.
Larry walked in right at that moment. What did you pet the dog for? Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Spike. I was already in a bad place, and I pitched him these ideas, and he said, "Yeah, okay, good. All right, well, we'll let you know," and flew back to New York and didn't get the job. They only had one spot that year, and they had your friend Jeff Schaefer.
Got it.
Jeff Schaefer and Alec Berg got that gig, and I thought the whole thing was over. And maybe about 6 months later, Jerry was on the show on Letterman, and Dave's office is on the 14th floor, and we were on the 12th, and it was a bad week. It was a Friday, and it was just in a bad mood. And I get in the elevator, and who's there but Jerry and Mary Connolly, the segment producer. And I turn around and face away from them, and I know in my mind, like, these guys have been talking for 2 weeks. They've run out of things to say, and Mary's going to introduce me, and I don't want to talk to Jerry Seinfeld. That's the guy who didn't give me that job. And sure enough, 6th floor, "Hey, by the way, this is one of our writers, Spike Feresten." "Ah, Spike, didn't you do a submission for us?" And I go, yeah, I did a few months back. And he goes, "How did that go?" And I go, "Shouldn't you know that?" And I couldn't stop it from coming out of my mouth because I was so tired. And he just went like that. And then the door opened, and I just ran. I just ran out of there.
And you thought, there's no...
I'm dead.
You're dead.
I'm done in show business.
You're finished.
I'm finished.
Jerry's going to stomp you out, man.
Bad Friday. I'm surprised I made it to Monday. I'm surprised I actually came to work.
Shouldn't you know that?
By the way, he should.
He should have known that. Right? He should have known that.
Truth is your defense, Spike Feresten.
I don't remember. A lot of stuff going on, Spike. But 6 months later, I had moved out to L.A. I'd left Letterman and didn't have a job, and I got the same call. And I said, "You want to come by?" And I went over to Larry's house again with a new page of ideas. I didn't pet the dog. And Larry said, "We're going to hire you. I like your stuff. We're going to bring you on." And there it is.
Wow.
And years later, like a year ago, years later, I asked Jerry, do you remember that elevator thing? He goes, "No, I don't remember it."
which is great.
You said that? I go, yeah, I said that. And you've been living rent-free in my head ever since that moment, but I'm glad we're cool.
That is amazing, Spike. What a story. I love that. I've got a few Seinfeld episodes that you were an integral part of, and I would like to ask you,
sure.
Spike Feresten here on The Rich Eisen Show. Everybody, again, check out Spike's Car Radio on the new YouTube channel as well, or wherever you get your podcasts, starting with the Soup Nazi episode.
There's a lot that's been covered about this episode,
I understand
Rich.
It was.
I hope you've got something new here.
No, I just want to know. I mean,
what would you like to know?
Well, there was a Soup Nazi that actually existed, correct, in New York City. But you are not familiar with this. Did you have to be brought up to speed to who this person was, or you were familiar with this?
No, I was very familiar with him. It was when I was writing on Letterman. That's where I got lunch in the winter.
So you are the genesis of the Soup Nazi character?
I am, of the story. I had, in the very first pitch session with Jerry and Larry, the writers who were helping me, Tom Gamble and Max Pross, said, if you make them laugh in this meeting, you're going to know you sold a story. Even though I was on staff, that's what they called it, right? And I pitched 10 ideas, no laughs. And I started getting a little flop sweaty, And Larry said, well, what else is going on in New York? And I said, there's this weird guy who sells soup they call the Soup Nazi, and they start laughing really hard. They go, what do you mean? They go, well, if you don't order the soup right, he takes the soup away and he gives you your money back, and he takes the soup away. They go, what? And I go, and everybody in line kind of turns away from you. And they were like, there's your episode. That's your first episode. And most of that episode are little vignettes of what really happened to me in real life. When Elaine says you kind of look like Al Pacino. There was a woman behind me in front of me actually, who said that to him and didn't get her soup. Said, you kind of look like Al Pacino. And he went, not like the TV character, he went, F you. Get the F out of here. Screamed at her.
So the real Soup Nazi would curse you out and eject you?
Yegina. Wow. I think is his name, right?
Okay.
Is that the real Soup Nazi? So this guy only opened up in the winter months, in the fall months. He would, in the summer, tour the world looking for new soups to bring to the corner of 55th and 8th.
Hey, he's a professional.
And all he asks is that you order soup the way he wants you to do it. And the writer who brought me in, this guy Dave, he said, look, if you don't do this right, you're going to get yelled at. And I said, look, I know how to order soup, all right? You give the guy money and you get the soup, because not like this. And I'm George in that very first scene with George and Jerry. I got yelled at, and they didn't give me the soup, and they took my money away. They gave me my money back. So that, all of that is kind of real. I always say it's more of a documentary than it is a piece of kind of, written comedy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
My God. Let's move on now to The Little Kicks, Season 8, Episode 4. This is the famous Elaine dancing episode. What's the genesis of that?
That was a boss I had in New York who I found very intimidating, because I was on a production staff, a legendary guy, and until one night I saw him dance, and I thought, oh, he's human, just like the rest of us.
Was he?
And I was no longer intimidated. And it was, I pitched that right after I pitched the Soup Nazi that first season, and we just couldn't figure out the story. But when Elaine became a boss, we knew we had it. Like, if we could just get Elaine onto a dance floor and screw it up, there it is. Yeah, the Elaine dance.
And was this her interpretation of the dance that you were explaining that you've seen, or this was just her own idea?
I described to Julia this Little Kicks dance that I had witnessed. And then she said, I got it. I'm going to take it from there. And she went home and she worked on it. She came in and added the fingers and the thumbs. And, that's what was great about this cast, is you could put a little bit of kindling into their heads, and it would suddenly become a bonfire. These actors that we had on that show, they were tremendous.
Who came up with the choice of song for it?
I did. I picked it. A song I don't think I could pick now, because I don't think I could get the rights to it. But that was a time where you could just pick any song and just put it in the show, and we'd get a license for it, and it would be fine.
But you're just a fan of the song, and just...
No, you're in an edit room, and you're playing songs. It's the same thing we do right now. It just sounds right and makes you laugh, and you go, there it is.
Have you been at a party where that song is played and somebody does the Elaine dance?
No.
I have. By the way.
The Brooklyn Cyclones have an Elaine dance every summer. I was supposed to be there and judge it this year. And then I screwed up my schedule and couldn't get there. And then Jerry called. He said, I think I'm going to do it. I'm like, what? Did you do it? I think Larry's coming too. No, I think this is all next year. In fact, I probably shouldn't even be talking about it.
Okay,
but,
no. It's,
but we love the Brooklyn. Is it the Brooklyn Cyclones? Is that who it is? The New York Mets minor league team. They've been having this Seinfeld night. It's grown into something huge. And it's, for me, it was just like, this will be great to interact with fans. But if Jerry and Larry are going to go, it's their show. I'll just tag along and watch.
Fantastic. And by the way, I'm sure it's called that not because, there are cyclones in Brooklyn. It's the roller coaster name in Coney Island. So that makes sense.
I hope I have the name right. I hope I have the name right.
A couple more of the Muffin tops. Top of the Muffin to you.
Yes.
Is that based on a Muffin store you went to?
That's a last minute story that jumped in because I had written a story that Frasier did the same night, where Frasier or somebody in the cast was listening on a police scanner to their neighbor's wireless phone calls. And I had written the same story for Kramer. You can see him doing that with his little police scanner, listening to everybody in the building's phone calls. So we pulled that story out, and we were sitting there going, well, what are we going to put in? We've got to read something tomorrow. Yeah. We've literally got to read a story, so we got to pull that thread right out of the whole script. After meeting for maybe an hour or so, we had nothing. And then I went, I had this girlfriend who only ate the top of muffins. And Jerry starts, he goes, what? And then so we're laughing and we have something. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, she would pop the top, get rid of the stump. She always thought she could have a business. She's a very successful clothing designer, but she was going to get out of designing for, I think it was Liz Claiborne, some designer, and open up a muffin top shop. And that really entertained everybody. And the story, started. And then we were like, oh, huh. And there was also this undercurrent of, with the Harvard guys in particular on the staff, that sometimes you would pitch a story and 3 months later they would pitch a story that's similar and they would get approved and you'd go, I'm not sure if it had anything to do with Harvard, but there was these ideas are in the air. They're always around. So we kind of put those things together. We had Elaine's boss take her idea and then do the idea. To the muffin top was one piece of it, but really beneath it, it was really about that creative process when you have an idea, you voiced it to the room, and suddenly there it is again. Somebody else is getting credit for it, right?
And I just love the process of it, right? How you're in a room, you got nothing, you keep on throwing stuff out there, and that's the story idea. And then what was it? How long did it take for you to come up with top of the muffin to you?
That night. We had to get the whole thing done that quickly. But that's what's fantastic about Jerry is he's so confident when he finds comedy things. Like it's a prospector and he unearths that piece of gold.
The science of it. Yes, he was talking about that.
Yeah,
here.
I get really lost and his confidence just carries you through it. He's like, no, that's it. It's going to work. It's great when you work with him because Larry's the same way. They're like, no, we got it. That's it. Let's just ride this train home.
Yeah, he told the story of the famous soliloquy of "The sea was angry, my friend." They came up with that, had to come up with it overnight because they connected the marine biologist storyline with the titleist and Kramer hitting golf balls at the beach. They didn't know how to connect it. They connect it. They write the soliloquy.
It's true.
Jason Alexander learns it overnight, and it's the stuff of television legend.
Whenever I was kind of a doubting Thomas on the staff when things got too broad, I'd go, that's too broad. Jerry would always say, we hit a golf ball into the blowhole of a whale, Spike, and nobody shut down the show. We're doing it.
Oh my God!
He always holds that up.
Another one, last one for you. The junk mail episode.
Yes, I love that episode.
What do you love about that one?
Well, because it really happened to me. I put a waste paper basket by my front door in Hollywood, and if I was home and the mailman came, I would take it and look him in the eyes and put it in the trash and go, "This has to stop."
The number of magazines that you did not
all of it
get.
I go all
purposely.
Of it. I can auto pay everything, my bills. I can just stop bringing me paper that I'm putting in. Look at this full waste paper basket. And the mailman said, he goes, you can't stop this. I go, I'm sure I can. He goes, you won't be able to stop it. There's nothing we can do. And I think it was Pottery Barn, and they're 3 times a week I was getting just waste of paper, and I'm not even the biggest environmentalist at all, but even I was just like, oh, And they go, good luck. And the mail was very confrontational. He's like, you can't stop it. I'm just going to keep putting it here. So that, like many of the episodes I wrote, they were little small acts of revenge. Small acts of revenge against the post office.
And the fact that Kramer was he was the avatar for your crusade here.
Yeah.
And that the Postmaster General comes to sit him down, and it's Wilford Brimley. How did that come about with Wilford Brimley? Did you write it thinking it's Wilford Brimley?
No, not at all. No, not at all. But we knew we wanted someone that would scare him, and we knew Wilford Brimley kind of scared us a little bit, so we knew he would be good. And one of the first days we walked on set, and he had to. We imagined this line like, "I'm not only the vice president, I'm also a general, and a general's job to get things done." And I think that might have had a double exclamation point in it. Mm-hmm. Probably a single, knowing Jerry. And we said Mr. Brimley, everything's great. You're amazing. This is going really well. But that line, it's got, we'd love for you to just yell it at him. And he goes, let me tell you a story. Whenever I see exclamation points, I get quiet like this. And the more quiet I get, the more threatening it is. And we went, okay. No problem. Mr. Brimley. He was good. He was good. He scared us in that moment. Like, that was the first, real actor that had hit our stage, and we were like, we are out of our league here.
Oh, my God. When you control the mail, you control the information.
Right. Fantastic. Brimley. Fantastic.
Oh, my God. Spike, this is just a total blast, man. I appreciate you coming on. I truly go on and on and on. Next time you're around and you want to hang out.
Anytime. I'd love
to do this. This is so much fun. Spike's Car Radio, again, now available on Spike's Car Radio YouTube channel, launched just last month. First 2 episodes with Jerry Seinfeld and Jay Leno. Special Festivus episode coming up next Monday.
And a Christmas episode with Max Greenfield.
Why not?
Of The Neighborhood.
We've got Max coming on next month.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
We'll talk with him about that as well. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Spike Feresten, everybody, right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.